First and foremost, we are so shook to have Miss Meagan Good jumping into the group chat. I'm shook. I've had a girl crush on you forever. So it's just so amazing to have you here. Thank you for stepping into the group chat with us.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. First off, is this a new hair?
This is new hair. I've been working since January. September was my first month off. And I was like, you know what? What does Meagan want to do? Meagan wants to go blonde with the bob that she finally grew out during the pandemic. So that's what's happening. So Miss Jasmine and Ashley blessed me with the color. And we're going to hit these roots because they already starting to come out. But, you know, yeah.
You love
so
a blonde
good.
moment. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I also was curious. I was just kind of stalking your IG, and your bio says some women are lost in the fire, some women are built from it. What does that mean to you?
I have been through a lot of fires. A few publicly, but most of them privately. And I feel that everything that I am is built from those experiences. And obviously they've made me stronger, but I think that they've kind of led the way in terms of, like, outside of God, just how I see the world, how I approach things, my authenticity, my truth, how I love others, how I treat others, how I leave people. All of that was built from the fire that I went through. And I don't want people to experience some of the things that I've experienced or feel the ways that I've felt. And so I do my best to offset that and to put good things into the world and good things into human beings.
That's so beautiful.
I love that. We have a fun icebreaker that Sade loves to play. Basically it's a game. It's a play on the texting thing. So it's on read or reply. If you leave something on read, you're not here for it. You've opened up the text and you choose not to respond. You left it on read. If you reply, you're here for it.
Okay.
Ready?
Oh yeah.
The first thing, low-rise jeans.
Reply.
That's because you can wear them.
They're making a comeback.
I was gonna say they're coming back. Yeah.
Well, there was a good 10 years where I couldn't wear them. So the fact that I made it by 40 and can make it back to them, I feel good about that. So I'm like, all right.
Did you say 40?
40.
Yes.
August
Hello.
8th.
She's a Leo. Hello.
I'm a Leo.
Gang,
Wow.
gang.
Okay, so we're gonna have to get into some
sense.
skincare.
I'm thinking about roll bounce when you had the braces.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense. Wow.
I was 23 playing 16.
Oh my God.
Kissing Bow Wow, who was 16.
Oh my God.
Wait, how weird was that?
It was crazy. You know, you talk about being a cougar and robbing a casino. I was like, oh my God, am I going to jail or what? But you know, I have a very, I guess, youthful spirit, and Bow Wow was a little old man at 16. So
yes, he
balanced out. We all had a great time on that set.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The next one is mood rings. And these are all like 90s, 2000s inspired because like you are our icon of that time. You still are our icon, but come on now. Like,
Shade was being a creep as a teenager.
Well, yeah, because 90s, I was a teenager. I would go with reply. I liked mood rings.
I thought they were so cool.
Yeah,
I thought that they were like legit.
Especially when they were like purple or black. I don't remember what that meant. I think it meant good things.
Meant that like your body was hot.
Right. That's actually what it meant.
Is it? Oh yeah. Well, there's that.
Frosted tips.
Leave that on red.
yeah,
It ain't for me.
Correct.
we don't need those to make a comeback.
You like frosted tips?
Oh, I don't need them to make a comeback, but come on, like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys.
I felt like it was wrong men. I was like, oh well, you know, he's still cute, but
he didn't need those tips.
He didn't need them.
They really had JT with like the ramen noodle waves. Like,
that's how it looked.
So
yeah.
crazy.
Yes, his little curly cues, the frosted tips. I was like, yeah, no, but he's still cute.
Oh my gosh. All right. This one you have to reply to. Heavy brown lip liner.
Oh, reply. And look, once Mary J came out with, what was it, Real Love, I think it was. And then, I'm Not Gonna Cry and all that stuff. And it was just like the deep, I swear that the line that I have around my lip to this day is because I wore so much brown. And if I didn't have brown, I would grab a black like eye pencil. Like I was gonna have a line no matter what. Yeah, it was a serious addiction. So
Oh my God, I kind of want to bring that back.
it was good. Maybe not dark brown, but like deep brown, mix it with some, not just like the hard line like it was. Plus I grew up in like, predominantly white neighborhoods. So the only other people of color were like Spanish women, so there was like a lot of cholas and a lot like, and that was like the thing. Like we had like the belt with like the initial on it, and we had the khakis and the Nike Cortez and the wife beater, and the lip liner was a part of the uniform.
A little mole.
The mole. I was right here.
You did the mole? Oh my God.
I did. Once in a while. But really what got me was the brows.
The brows. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a journey. It's been a journey.
Have you done micro blading or micro shading?
I've done everything. I did tattooing at 25. I did micro blading at 30, micro shading at like 34. And then I realized over time, these lines, they kind of start to like spread and blend together. And when you don't have a lot of brow color, like if you have some brows and you do that, then it's not going to be bad because it's just going to end up being a shade behind your actual hair. But if you don't have much hair at all, like I didn't, it just became like blocks. And when I got to my mid 30s, I was like, oh, this is actually making me start to look like older quicker because it's like, they're so harsh. And so what ended up happening was I saw on Amber Rose's page that she had got an eyebrow transplant with hair from her real head. And so, I mean, not that there's a fake head, from her head. And I researched the doctor, and I had thought about it years ago, doing it like the hair club for men. And I knew another actress that did it, but she was like, it wasn't great. So I was like, nah, I'm straight. But then when I saw the way that this doctor did it and harvested the hair and everything, I was like, all right. So I went back, I went to him, I did it once. And then I went back like 2 years later, added a little bit more. And then like last year, I added like a few little hairs, like a little bit of holes that I had. But now I got eyebrows like a real little girl.
I mean, they're gorgeous.
They look great.
Does it hurt?
No. The process itself was like, I mean, they do cut like a little bit of the back of your head, and they take out a little strip that has hair on it. They sew it back. That was painless. And then they harvest the hair from that strip, and they put little slits, and they harvest each hair in. You draw in the shape that you want. And they do it in coordinates with your face and the shape of your face. And they just put the hairs in, and then you have perfect brows for about a week or two, and then they all fall out, and then you have to wait 3 months for them to begin to grow back in, and then it takes a few months for them to grow in. But yeah, it's so worth it. It's been a game changer. It's like when people are like, oh, you look really young, I'm like, that's a big part of it. Like once I was able to give myself back a full natural brow, it just made the rest of my face look younger, because it just wasn't so harsh and making my features look harsh.
I mean, brows are important.
In the face.
Brows are important. Well, they look gorgeous. So
thank you.
Money well spent.
Sade is still shook.
Yeah, I can tell she's like Googling it.
I'm like, wait, what? Like, you just put us on game.
I have never heard of this.
Yeah. And look, if you don't have a lot of hair to replace, then he can just poke it out, like pull it out from its root. So then you don't actually have to get like a little incision, which I think is what Amber Rose did, because she has a bald head.
Right.
She didn't want to do the incision. And so I was like, put the incision in my hair cover. Let's get as much hair as possible.
Right.
Also pluck. Ouch. Okay. Last thing, juicy tracksuits, red or reply?
Reply, because I lived in them. Back in the day, you know, Kim and Chloe and everyone, we were all very close. And Kim was the first person that wore the juicy suits like often. And I was like, this like frames her body so perfect. Like I need a juicy suit. And so after that, I went and bought like every color and every like size, like it was crazy. And so it was a real thing for me. I wore a few of them to like red carpet events. It was
Oh
like,
my God.
"What? Girl, calm down." Like, but yeah. So now not so much, but then it was a thing.
Listen, the 90s red carpets were very questionable, but at the time, everyone just let it happen. And we were like, yeah.
A lot of denim. A whole lot of denim.
Lots of denim, lots of color, lots of cutting of shirts, lots of belts, lots of big
fedoras.
Fedoras.
Colored eyeshadow. I could go on. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for playing. We are going to officially kind of get into the conversation. First of all, you're really just kind of like doing everything. Like our Black girl doing shit is to embody like a woman, a Black woman that we just aspire to, who is doing shit. And you are not only an actress, an entrepreneur, you're also a director. We're curious on how you balance it all. I'm just so curious about like your foray out of acting into these new kind of roles. Like, give us the tea. How you doing this?
I'm a big, you know, I am a businesswoman, but I'm not. A lot of opportunities come to me and I say no often because they take time, you know, and I'm a big quality of life person, and anything I get involved with, it's got to be something that's in my heart, that I'm excited about, that I'm passionate about. And so with, you know, being an entrepreneur, coming out with Good Girl Raps, that really was born out of, you know, me and Dr. Carey created Goddess Locks like back in 2014 or 2015. And those blew up so big that, you know, I was in love with that, or am in love with that hairstyle, I wear it often. And when I would work out, I would have trouble with my hair going everywhere. Or when I would go to sleep at night, I'd be like picking it up and putting it on the pillow here and there, and trying not to let it touch my face and break my cheek out. And I found an old scarf that I must have had like maybe 15 years prior, like in some stuff. And I repurposed it and realized like, oh, this is great because I can jump around with this and it's not going to slide off, or at night, it's not going to slide off my head. And so I started using it to work out with and sleep in. And people were like, what is that? You know, I have dreads, I have braids, I have Goddess Locks, I have twists, I have curly hair that I don't want to wash every day. Like, how do I get this? And I was like, do people really want this? And I just kept getting asked for a year. And I was like, I guess I will make some because people need them. And I guess it makes sense. And there's a real demand for them. And so I was like, okay, how can I make it so that, you know, if your body's overheating, your head stays cool, or if you're, you know, really cool, your head will warm up. And how do I make it so that it definitely stays on your head and it's not sliding off, and won't break your hair and traps in moisture and all these things. And then, you know, the Good Girl Rap was born, and that's one thing. And there's a few other things, you know, I'm looking at some brow pencils to help women with brows and create that pretty full look. And I'm also working on an eye cream with Paul online. He calls himself Pore Star, and he's obsessed with pores. It's pretty amazing. And he's like 26 years old, and he has a line. I believe it's pronounced Charette or Charlotte. There's not an L there. Charmette. I'm gonna get it right, but I'm gonna give it to you. But he's got a great line, and so we're developing an eye cream now because I'm big on like, you know, just getting ahead of like, you know, wrinkles, saggy skin, tightening under your eyes, brightening under your eyes, that kind of thing. And yeah, and then with directing, I kind of fell into it. I thought I might do it one day, but wasn't planning to do it when I started. And my cousin had just come off of Glee, and he had a single he wanted to put out, and he asked me to help him produce the music video. And one of the things in producing, you know, was problem solving and putting all the pieces together. And so I got a director, and the director seemed kind of like he might not be able to do it. I was like, don't worry, he'll be able to do it. If he can't do it, I'll direct it. Okay, it'll be fine. Well, he couldn't be able to do it. And so I ended up directing, and I was like,
wow,
terrified. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to like waste my cousin's money, and he's going to like hate me. And it ended up being like the beginning of just like a love affair. I instantly realized I knew exactly what I was doing and I knew exactly what I wanted. I've been watching it my whole life, and I might not know the name of that lens, but I know what lens I want. You know, I may not know exactly how to get this shot, but what do you think? What's the best way to approach this? Okay, great. That's actually a good idea. Now that I've got that, let's actually do this, you know, and it just kind of came. And then I realized I didn't have to wear hair and makeup, and I could just show up in sweatpants and a beanie and, you know, create and serve the project and serve people, and do something meaningful, because, you know, everything we do here gets filtered out into the rest of the world, and it shapes the way, you know, a person sees the world and what's possible and what they can accomplish. And so I love directing so much. And for me, I just get involved in wherever my heartbeat feels like, man, this is something I should be doing and I can lend something to, and I'm happy doing, you know.
You can tell you're passionate about it because like you started talking about it and I don't know, it was like a beam coming off of you. Like, yeah. I have a quick aside, ladies, before we go into the next question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into these wraps. I have to admit, I don't like wearing a bonnet or a scarf with my man. Like I just like I personally like, so I'm silk pillowcase mommy, but I feel like at times you still need to like make sure like nothing really helps like a good bob like fall like wrapping it properly. But like when I have my like old scarf on, I'm like, this ain't it.
Listen, I date men with locks and they've worn bonnets. They have had bonnets on.
Yeah, if you
want, I kind of into it.
Shine health. You as a Black woman, you have to wrap that hair up.
But I need like a cute wrap, and I see your wraps look cute. Like at least I want it to look like when I'm going to bed, it's kind of like I don't want you making out with me with my old bonnet on. Like
I wear my wraps to lunch. Like if I'm coming from the gym, I'm like, well, I'm gonna take my hair down for right now. I don't feel like dealing with that. I throw on my little sunglasses and go to lunch in my bonnet because it doesn't really look like a bonnet. It really is exactly just back and pull back, and you can tie something here, but it's like off your face and it's flat, and you could pick the design that you want, or you could just do black, you know. And for me, it still frames my face and looks good. It's not like a big thing kind of making me look like, you know, a clown.
We call it the wombo when you got that really big bonnet,
big one.
Lean in.
Yeah. I mean, I have one of those for this, you know what I'm saying? But for my other things, for my goddess locks or any of my braids and stuff, I that's why I love the wrap, because I feel like I can actually wear it in public and still feel cute.
I love that. That was like a whole conversation too. Remember, like, can you wear your bonnet outside?
Yes.
Right. How did you feel about that conversation?
I feel to each his own, you know. I understood points on both sides. I do understand points on both sides, but I'm like, I am going to do however I feel led in this moment. And but I do understand the importance and the responsibility and the fact that things aren't really fair. And sometimes when things aren't fair, you have to step up in a different way in terms of like changing people's perceptions and, you know, and be thoughtful about that kind of thing. But in the same breath, you know, I give it thought, but I don't overthink it, because for me, you know, if I got to do it, I got to do it. But I, for the most part, try not to do it. I'll wear mine because I feel like mine are stylish and don't just look like a regular bonnet. But I don't really wear one in the airport, but I might get to my chair and when they turn the lights on, I might put my bonnet on, you know, and then take it off before I get off, you know. So, but I don't judge anyone who does it or says they don't do it for that reason.
Same camp.
I feel that, yeah. I mean, I think the thing about it was like the hair care part, right? Like that was one of the arguments I heard on the other side.
Right.
Which, you know, those flights be dry, you know.
Right.
You're like leaning your head against things.
Well, look, that's the compromise, you know. Hey, seat, hook it up, you know, or not. Some people are like, no, I'm tired. I want to get on the plane, go to sleep. How about that? So,
listen, to each his own.
Exactly.
So, Mrs. Franklin, if you're nasty, we saw a clip where you spoke about getting closer to your husband in quarantine and proactively doing marriage counseling. I'd love to hear more about that because I feel like there's a stigma around one, like therapy overall in, you know, the Black community, but also like people think you go to marriage counseling when something's going wrong. And you said like, y'all were all good. You were just trying to get ahead of things and learn more. And I thought that was really dope.
Yeah, I think it's important, you know, I think it's important to be proactive instead of reactive, you know, and I think marriage counseling is an incredible tool because we both all of us come with things, you know, that have nothing to do with each other, you know, childhood traumas, things we're currently experiencing, things we have experienced. And I think marriage counseling really allows you to dig into those things, and in digging in those things allows the other person to understand or try to understand, you know, where you're coming from, where certain behaviors come from, why you respond a certain way, why something is a trigger for you. And then just counseling in general, you know, I've been in therapy, like a good consistent therapy since like April, and it's been like wonderful because I finally found my person. And she's so funny. She'd be like, girl, what's wrong with you? She's
Black?
Cool chick. But yeah, I just think therapy is important, you know, to get in front of things beforehand, you know, and to really be willing to look under the hood and to know that, like, you know, all of us have our stuff and that's okay. And I think a lot of times in the Black community, or at least in the past, I think it's becoming a little bit more of an open topic now, but you know, it's like, well, why am I going to let somebody else who doesn't have their life together help me get my life together? Because they're trained in doing that. We're not talking about their life. We're talking about the fact that they are trained to help you get your life together. And I think that we should take advantage of anything that is available to us, and not think that we've got it all. That's why help is available to us, you know, in every capacity.
Yeah, I was just listening to something and they were saying, like, even if I'm not going through something, I still go to therapy. Like, even if it's going to talk to your therapist and saying, like, you know, I'm in a good place. I had a really great week. Like, just that consistency.
But is the goal of therapy to like eventually stop going? Or do you all believe like you should just always consistently go to therapy?
I think it depends. You know, I start a lot of sessions, but like I feel great. And end up crying.
Yes,
towards the middle end. Same. And it's like about something that's like wasn't even happening this week or last week. It could be something that happened like 4 years ago, or something that happened when I was 10, or like, you know, for me, I think that you're constantly growing, you're constantly evolving, you're constantly healing, you're constantly discovering things about yourself. And so, you know, there's seasons where I will go to therapy consistently. There's seasons where I just won't be as consistent. Maybe I'm working. There are times when I just won't go at all, you know. But for me, going consistently has been really important, especially in this season, because I've been working so much and just making some life changes and really trying to assess, like, okay, Meagan, what are the things that you have not dealt with at all that maybe you're not even aware of, you know, and how is it affecting different parts of your life, you know, and the way that you see the world and how you process things. And, you know, like a big thing for me for a long time was, you know, what people have to say about me or what people think about me. And, you know, I used to get my feelings so hurt. I'd be like, but that's not who I am. And like, you know, and therapy has been a way to really weed through why you give people that much power, and why do you care that much, and why does it affect you this way, and why does this automatically equal this for you, and you know, all of those things. And so I think therapy is amazing. I thank God that he made it available to us, and I think we should take advantage of it.
I feel like it's just like people say it's like exercising, but literally like it is like, it's like you work out consistently and then you're like, oh, my body is toned, I'm good. And then if you stop working out, no, ma'am.
Right.
That part.
That tone is gonna fade.
Yes, it is.
But so, and speaking of therapy as a resource and a tool for like self-betterment, I know that your faith is also really important to you too. So I guess, how do you call upon your faith, and what does your faith look like? Do you pray every day? What is your relationship with God giving you?
Oh yeah, like I could look right now, my Bible's probably, see that? It's probably right here. Yeah, I get up. First thing I do is make sure that I do not pick up my phone. I sit up in bed. I take some deep breaths, get some oxygen to my brain. I talk to God, whether it's prayer, whether it's talking, whether it's communing, just get in sync with him and just talk and spend time with him. Depending on how my day is going, I might open my Bible immediately. If I'm a little bit pressed for time, I'll open it throughout the day whenever I get a moment to. I say affirmations over myself. I make sure when I get in the car, the very first thing I listen to is gospel, something uplifting, something that's going to speak to my spirit, and make sure the first thing that hits my spirit is something that's edifying, that reminds me who I am, that gives me just strength for the things that are coming throughout the day that I'm not even prepared for yet, but that helps me prepare, and it helps me be ready to have an immediate reaction that says, okay, I can respond like this, or I can respond like this, because that's the only thing that I'm in control of, is how I respond to things that I can't control. And God is everything. I talk to him throughout the day. I talk to him at random moments. I'll be listening to a good song, and I'll just shut the song off for a minute and just be like, thank you, Lord, for this moment that I get to listen to a good song, however ratchet, and I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying my little drive down the highway, and I just have peace in my heart, and I'm thankful for that. Thank you for just this simplicity. That's it, Lord. Put my song back on, and I just try to make sure that my day is always thinking of him and being in tune with him, because that's how I navigate all the things that go on, and I stay close so that I can be useful and usable and have peace.
I love that. Were you always this in tune to your spirituality / religion, or is this something that you've grown into?
I didn't grow up in the church. We didn't grow up going to church. When I was about 12, I had some friends, associates, because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. There was a lot of bullying, a lot of racism, and there were two girls. One's name Alicia and one's name was Barbara. And there were two Spanish girls. They really looked out for me when people would try to bully me. And my acting coach, who was my coach from 11 to 26, who is my godmother in essence, Carnetta, she did a youth group where she was youth group pastor. And so we would go to this youth group, and, it was just something kind of to do after school. And Alicia and Barbara went, and they were babysitting a little girl named Jessica, who was 5, and they were with their friend, Gina, and Barbara's older sister, Joachima, who was Maya's age. And they got into a car accident, and Joachima died instantly. Gina died 3 hours later. Jessica, the little girl, was on life support, and she died on her 5th birthday. And Alicia and Barbara were the only 2 survivors. And Barbara got severe brain damage, and it really changed her. And Alicia, who was the one I was closest to, had to do, surgery to correct her eyelid that was torn off, and just it was a really bad accident. And we went to a youth group meeting a few months later. It was a retreat, and Alicia, we were at the top of this mountain, we were all praying, and Alicia cried out to God, and she was just like, Jesus, I want to know you. I want you to come into my heart. And I was just so confused. I was like, wait, how does all that happen? And you want to know God? Because in my mind, I'm like, God, let that happen. I was very confused, but I looked up to her so much, and I was 12 and she was 13, and she just set the example that set me on my course. And so that night I got saved, and initially as a young saved person, I was extremely religious. I was complete Bible stomper. When Lamaya lost her virginity at 16, I cried to her. I was like, I just don't want you to go to hell. I was that kid.
Oh my God.
None of my friends told me when they lost their virginity. I just was a lunatic. And so it took it's taken years for me to just grow in my relationship with God, and to not actually be religious, but to choose to have a relationship with God over a religion, and know him, and to really hear from him, and to be able to speak to him and hear what he has to say, and to know that, you know, I'm not the cookie cutter Christian. I'm not the cookie cutter religious girl, or, you know, married to a minister. So I'm like, you know, the first lady by those standards or anything like that, but I am exactly who God has called me to be in every season of who I am. And my convictions are between me and God, and how I move, what I wear, what I do, what I say, what I think, how I live is all me and God communing. And it doesn't make sense to everybody, but that's okay, because, you know, it's only got to make sense to him. The only thing that matters is what he has to say about who I am. And he knows my heart, and he knows the quality of the human being I am, and he knows what he's called me to. And he hasn't called me necessarily to the church. He's called me to, you know, dark places, because you can only light up, you know, light can't light up light. Light can only light up darkness. And so the cool thing is, I love the Lord. I love Jesus. I know who I am. And it's been a journey, and it still is a journey. And I'm still learning things that were okay in one season and in different seasons aren't. Things that I never thought would be okay in different seasons are. But the biggest thing for me is just staying close to him, and being usable however he wants to use me.
Oh. Well, I'm like, there's right so much in there.
Right on time.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. I know we got to let you go, but I just loved hearing what you're saying in terms of like that distinction between like religion and your experience, because I feel like so many people get lost in trying to follow specific steps, and they feel as though if they don't follow those steps, then they are not doing worthy, or they're doing it wrong. And you're just like, this is a connection that I've developed and a relationship that I've developed. And the biggest thing I took away from everything you said is this level of gratitude. Like, even in the small moments of like listening to music in your car to, you know, some of those darker moments, like consistently having that gratitude is so, so important and so grounding, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's allowed it. So I do my part to meet him halfway, but at the end of the day, he's allowed it. So I'm super, super, super grateful, you know.
Well, last thing, I know you have an upcoming Netflix film, Day Shift, with Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg. I'm so curious to know how it was working with them. What else you have on the horizon? Like, just let the people know where they can see this beautiful face and beautiful soul.
Thank you. Well, Harlem comes out on Amazon December 3rd.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that. I love my castmates. I love my crew. I love, you know, Tracy Oliver, everybody included. I love this character. There's so much of me in her. And I'm such a dork, and you get to see all of that awkwardness and like its fullness. So she's been really fun to play. And then Day Shift with Jamie, you know, vampire movie was like my bucket list, and it's a vampire slaying comedy, and it's
oh my God,
a really
love it.
fun character for me, and he's so great in it, and Snoop is amazing in it, and you know, James Franco, and it's just a really I'm sorry, Dave Franco. It's a really
I was
cool
like,
love him too.
Dave is, when I tell you, this kid is so hilarious and so great. I mean, it's a great group. And then I just finished Shazam 2. That'll be out 2023. And you know, the big kids we're all throughout this one, which is really cool. We got new superhero uniforms, and it's just cool playing a 12-year-old. My biggest dream was like, I want to be in the action space in Marvel, DC universe, and I want little Black girls to be able to see themselves in these characters. And what better way for little girls to see themselves by actually playing a 12-year-old superhero? So it's cool. It's been a really, really good year. And
you've been working.
And then I have I just directed a short for Kevin Hart's company that's going to be premiering at Sundance. Brisha Webb is starring in it. Cedric the Entertainer's in it. My castmate from Deception, Catherine Lanassa's in it. And so, yeah, it's just, I'm like, just thank God. I'm just happy.
I love that.
Maybe you and Glynn can convene at Sundance.
I might be good, girl.
What we doing though?
I know. I'm like, I hit you up, girl.
Let's go. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I can now say that I was in the presence of Meagan Good, even if it was via Zoom. Okay. And yeah, this has just been like such a pleasure. You are such a lovely person, and we're so excited for everyone to hear this episode. Check out everything that you're working on. I'm getting me a wrap. Okay.
Correct.
Yay.
When you talked about flopping the hair over on the pillow, I'm like, oh my God, I know that so well.
Listen, you be half asleep trying to move it to this side.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, you're welcome to the group chat anytime. Thank you for joining us, and have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank
you. Appreciate it.